to bring out Mickey Sumner and Greta Gerwig.
And just to get things started, I'd like to ask each of you how this project came together, how you came to it, how you developed the fabulous chemistry that exists in the film.
Mickey Sumner.
Greta Gerwig?
No.
Well, Greta and I wanted to work together again after Greenberg, and so I don't know, we'd sort of talked over a few years about what it might be, and we kind of started writing stuff about this character and this world, and it became this movie. That's how it happens.
Any other questions? I'll throw to the audience. I'm going to try to see hands.
I have a question.
Go for it.
No, I was extremely interested in the musical selection. It was kind of a very wide range, and I wondered how much time you spend on it, or do you have that in mind when you go into the film? Because it's really a vast selection of very interesting music.
The question is about the music in the film and how you select the music that you're going to use for each scene.
Yeah, well, I wanted the music in this movie to complement the look of the movie, the black and white of the movie. I wanted it to be grand and cinematic and really support these women and make something that just felt very movie-like. And I basically just took all these great scores from a lot of George Delerue and scores from 60s and 70s French movies, and I at some point sort of put it in, and it just felt like the right feeling for the movie. And then there are other songs that I like and felt right. I mean, you know, there's no better song to run to than David Bowie's Modern Love.
Any other questions? Yes, right there.
Was it shot black and white, or did it start in color and then get changed in post? And the lighting was terrific. It reminded me of some of the best silent films, the lighting of black and white silent film. Lighting was terrific.
So the question is about the black and white aesthetic. Was it a choice from the beginning, or did that come in later? And as well, your use of lighting that really reflected some of the earlier silent black and white films.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's very, it's near impossible now to shoot in black and white film if you're going to release a movie commercially, because it's just, the labs don't do it anymore. I did a lot of tests to sort of figure out how we wanted the movie to look, and because if we were going to make a black and white movie, I wanted it to feel great. So, but it was always intended to be black and white. There was never, but most, I'd say probably 99.9% of black and white movies, which is probably about 3 movies over the last few years, they're all shot in color and then swapped.
And what influences were you pulling from? There's a lot of references to the New Wave, to Woody Allen. What kind of influences were in your head when you were making this?
The New Wave and Woody Allen. I didn't think consciously of referencing movies, but I definitely looked at Woody Allen's black and white movies. There's no better way to shoot New York in black and white than those movies he did with Gordon Willis. And the French New Wave, I felt in some ways, one of the things we talked about was kind of making our New Wave movie, whatever that would mean now. Although a lot of those movies are actually shot in color. I mean, just the sort of first ones are black and white, but I looked at a lot of black and white movies because there are a lot of different ways you can do it, and also the materials we were using, I wanted to just make sure, like I said, we could do it right. But I think all those influences are so embedded in me now that I don't really know when I'm doing it or not doing it.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes, right in the front.
So this is for Francis. During the movie...
Francis doesn't exist.
In my heart she does. It's one of those kinds of questions. So in the movie, you were always, it felt to me anyways, you could have been on the verge of telling Sophie to fuck off. And yet you hung in there constantly. How did you feel inside with all of that?
The question is about how Greta dealt with that relationship with Sophie, and did she want to tell her to fuck off at some point? So I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that on stage.
It's always difficult to talk about the interior experience of acting in a film because you quickly slide into things that sound nonsensical and pretentious at the same time. But I felt when we were writing Frances, and then when I began to act Frances, that Frances she's a lot of things, but she's so passionate, and she so loves Sophie, and she so hangs on to this idea that she has that maybe they'll somehow find a way to just spend their lives together and not move on from this moment of youth, that she doesn't have it in her to tell Sophie to go take a hike. She can only chase her until she stops chasing her, and then it allows them to actually be friends in an adult way. But that part of Frances was so important, and I felt that just the yearning inside my chest for someone. It's the same feeling as like any unrequited love. It's not different, it just doesn't have a word.
Came through in the movie that way.
Good.
Any other questions? Right up here, okay.
All right. Greta, are you a professionally trained dancer, or was this a learning process?
The question is for Greta and whether or not she's a professionally trained dancer, or if this was a learning process.
No, I was never a professional dancer, but I danced a lot when I was growing up. I was a ballet dancer, and then when I was in college, I did a lot of modern dancing. And I was good friends with people who were modern dancers, and part of what we used in the film was the experience that I knew of people who had apprenticed in modern dance companies, and right out of college that seemed really amazing. But then 5 years on, it seems like, am I ever going to be part of this company? And if I'm not, I've trained in this style, and it seemed symbolically potent and interesting and a good representation of where Frances is psychologically. But the dance itself, I love dancing. I still go to dance in New York, and but nobody will pay me for it.